Good evening. It's very nice to see lots of people here. I practiced a couple hours ago and it was only 4, so this is already more positive. So I'm Connor and I'm a microbiologist here in Dundee, and it's really nice to see a lot of people participating quite heavily tonight in one of my favourite pieces of microbiology, the ingestion of fermentation products by yeast, or as for other people around here, drinking alcohol. I also want to point out, this is my prop for this, but I was at my stag do on the weekend. I'm struggling, this is non-alcoholic. So I'm going to put this down because it's now pointless and the punchline wasn't right. So yeah, I'm a microbiologist, which in summary means I study small things. And before any of you get a bit carried away, that does not mean I study your mate's penis size. When I first told my friends at home that I was a microbiologist, that was the first joke that they tried to tell me. I've been doing this for about 8 years now. It wasn't funny in 2009, it's not funny in 2018, and I would really like people to stop making jokes about my penis. I really want to know. So, microbiology is quite a sort of different subject. It's not one of the sort of, what we can sometimes refer to in the lab as a sexy science. But in more recent times, it's become a bit more prevalent with the increased sort of rise of antibiotic superbugs, antibiotic resistance, and sort of a much bigger rise in the number of deaths due to infections. So it's quite difficult to be a microbiologist because when you read about these things in the newspaper, you read about it in the media, you think hundreds of thousands more people every year are going to die. People are going to no longer be cured of infections they've had. They've been easily cured since the 1920s with the advent of the hygiene theory and antibiotics. And all I'm thinking is, good, more money for me and more work. So I can keep going. Just say, you can all die, I'll be happy. And that's all that matters. So, as I say, you keep reading more and more about microbiology in the media. It is a growing topic and it is becoming more and more popular as a science. But quite often you find it, you see it in the paper and you read things about, antibiotic resistant super gonorrhea, which is a sort of a big hot topic at the moment. So it's an STI that for many years now, people who probably less savoury than most members of this crowd may have encountered, where they've enjoyed an evening's activity with someone they probably shouldn't have, and they've got a bit of a problem, and they go to the doctors, make up some story about how they caught it from a toilet seat. I don't know. I'm not experienced in this, so don't ask me the details. So what they do is they sort of go, sorry, we've got gonorrhea, here's a small course of antibiotics, it's fine. But now with this rise of super gonorrhea, you find that these infections are much more difficult to treat, they're getting more and more powerful, they're really difficult to shift, and they're a massive pain in the genitalia. So I looked at that paper and thought, great, another article about super gonorrhea, more money for us. But no, they keep describing Donald Trump with the same sort of triplicate of descriptive terms. And you think, Christ, this is getting really difficult now. We can't even discern our politicians from our superbugs. So yeah, we keep finding, as I said, that it's more and more in the media these days, sort of microbiology and stuff like this. And another thing we do quite well here in Dundee, and I'm sure Kat will bring it up later because she is actually a parasitologist, is work on neglected tropical diseases. So these are diseases that they need human hosts. They acquire things from their host. They need them. They suck the life from them. They're neglected. Most people don't know what they do. They don't really know what they're about. And again, I got found myself, this time I'm reading celebrity pages, they're describing the Kardashians and not parasites. I keep thinking, what the hell is going on here? Because I thought, well, at least this isn't linked to politics. And I then read that Kanye West might well run to be the next president of the United States. I do not need another parasite like that one in the country. So, I keep sort of saying about this, and it's quite American focused, but I sort of started to write this material around sort of a trip I did about 2 or 3 years ago now to the States. So I was invited to speak at this very nice small conference on the organism I worked on called Burkholderia. So it's quite a small meeting. It's been to some really lovely places over the past sort of 10 years. This conference. It's been to Chicago, Dublin, Buenos Aires, Vancouver, and I got to go to Columbus, Ohio. You're laughing, you don't know where it is. I've been, but I'm still not 100% sure. So what I liked about this thing is they gave us, as part of the conference, a historical trip around Columbus, which is quite impressive because the majority of that city was built after my grandmother, who's 95, was born. So their history is a lot shorter than ours, and the trip wasn't very long. But on the trip they told us why Columbus, Ohio exists. It was built solely in the middle of Ohio to stop Cincinnati or Cleveland getting too big and becoming capitals of the state. I sort of wondered about this for a while, and I thought, did he think that was funny? So I asked some local Ohioans about this, and they went, we're not entirely sure what Cleveland and Cincinnati are either. Unless you're American football fans, you won't get it either. They're both in the north and south of the state. It's not important, it's just a sort of, that's actual fact in it. The rest of this is all just lies. It's not, this story does exist. No. So the other thing they showed is they're really proud of their university in Columbus. It's the Ohio State University. It's the fourth biggest university in America, and it has something like 100,000 undergraduate pupils, which is essentially a city the size of Dundee contained within a university. One of their famous alumni, though, is a man called Les Wexner, who, if you don't know who he is, I didn't know who he was until I got to Columbus either, but they're very proud of him. So he's a multi-billionaire who owns a huge number of different sort of clothing brands. So these things like Hollister, Abercrombie & Fitch, Victoria's Secret, La Senza, so a lot of quite high-end, sort of university-based aspirational brands, they call them. So he's put a lot of money into the university, which means he gets to name a lot of the buildings. So he's got the Les Wexner Experimental Medicine Center, which is obviously the one he thought, that's so good I'll put my name on it. He's then got the Hollister Engineering Department, but my particular favourite was the Abercrombie & Fitch Cancer Research Centre, which is a building that does actually exist. I went to check this joke out for factual posterity this morning. It turns out they had a massive protest about 6 weeks after I left. I never thought to check it again, and they actually took the name off because they thought it was a little bit sort of disrespectful. I thought, good job he's done this, because I did think that the next step he was going to go to was the Victoria's Secret GUI clinic. I think that's possibly not the best move for his brand or any brand, really. So I was still in Columbus. I thought, great, America has managed to sort of open my mind. I've managed to meet great people, and I've sort of visited places I never thought I'd see, like lingerie-based GUI clinics. But then I thought, right, I'm in Columbus for one extra day. Let's go and look around. Let's find something interesting to do. Which really turns out is quite difficult in Columbus. But luckily, one person told me, if you go to see one thing, it's our famous statue outside the Civic Center. And I was like, I wonder who this could be. I know Jack Nicklaus is originally from there, the famous golfer. I thought that'd be pretty cool. I'm a big sports fan. I thought maybe a famous American president was there. Again, linking back into all this superbugs and American presidents. I thought, but who could it be? And I asked a couple of people, and they said, no, just keep going that way. You won't believe it. So I arrive at this statue, and it's a 7-foot bronze statue of, at the time, the Governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Apparently it's where he won his first Mr. Universe, right? I think he said Miss World then, which wouldn't have turn up in the box if he won his first Miss World. We'd have all missed a massive news story. But no, you think, great, Connor, that's another American politician you've managed to link back to microbiology in 8 minutes of stand-up comedy. You think that's crazy? On exactly the same day, my mate John was in Austria, also at a microbiology conference, and I texted him the picture of me stood with a 7-foot Arnie giving it all that, and he replied with a picture of exactly the same statue. So I have to look around for John, thinking there cannot be 2 of these statues linking microbiologists in the world today. But it turns out he also has one in his hometown of Austria, and no matter where you go, no matter what research you're doing, you're always about 6 feet away from an American politician. So, thank you all very much, guys.